there. We were having some technological difficulties that little rebooting seems to have cured. So what I want to talk about today is living with the tension, and it's so much part of the spiritual life and part of just life in general that we have to learn to live with tensions between these two things: the world as we imagine it could be, and the world as it is. So and that's real common. We had this vision of the way the world can be, and it can be this actually can create a lot of tension because we just know that life as it is not that thing that we had hoped and dreamed for. And here again, obviously, I'm talking about the bigger hopes and dreams, the hopes and dreams that can really make a difference to other people and make a difference to the world. And much of life is learning to live within that tension without giving into despair. So I want to say that one more time: living within the tension without giving into despair. And how do we start to do that? And I've been thinking a lot about this particular topic, in terms of church and how church functions. That isn't where most people who are congregants necessarily think, which is good. But as a pastor and leader of a church organization, we think about that a lot. Like, how do we keep the institutions strong that support these experiences that people have, because we believe these experiences are of value. And that's a hard one in terms of thinking about living with the tension. And much of the tension comes down to this, folks. We have a security mindset and we have a growth mindset, and both are true. We want to always be growing, changing, being out there on the edge, doing the best we can, continuing to push and move and evolve. And then we also have this part of us that knows that there has to be a level of security too, a level of safety, a level of knowns. This part of us that is rock solid. And the problem in church institutions and in many institutions that I've seen, I was working a little conversation with an institution that I know and love that's not connected to our church at all, but they're wrestling with the same thing. Is which one of those two is the right answer? Like, should we be about growth or should we be about security and safety? The reality is, folks, so much of religion, so much of faith is about a both and approach. This is made famous in the book. There, I'm totally lost the name of the book. Anyways, the book's point was that we have to preserve the core and stimulate progress at the same time. And that's, I think, so much of what a life of faith is all about. A life of faith is where we can take these things. All right, how do I come back? What's the real core? 10 commandments, real straightforward. These are the things you can't do. And then what's the next stage in that? Well, then the next stage are the two great commandments: love the Lord your God and the person right in front of you. I can work at living those things. Those have to become these real cores. And then outside of that, we have to learn how to grow in our jobs. Like, how do we apply that at work? How do we apply those things in our family? How do we apply those things as a way to serve? Those are all really important questions. And those are more of a growth mindset, not a security/safety mindset. But churches struggle, as I think many churches, many institutions in our world today are struggling, because it's ended up being a binary. And this binary continues to push further and further apart. So people want security and safety, want to make things small and noble. They're pushing for certain things. Growth is also, in its own way, same energy continues to push out and out and out, and never the twain shall meet. And that's where we need to keep on thinking about, what is the third way? There's always this idea in our lives about a third way. And I'd ask you to think about that. For the tensions you're wrestling with in your life, where you feel like, oh yeah, it feels like there's just this binary here. It's either this or this. Think if you can take a breath and think for a second, is there a place here for some moral imagination? Is there some place here for a third way? Is there some place for something that's beyond the binaries that actually hold the two together? Christian New Church theology is big on that. I mean, one of my favorite quotes of all time from Emanuel Swedenborg is the quote, "Maintenance is perpetual creation." So in other words, to maintain anything, it has to be perpetually recreated. But it's recreated within a given form. My body has changed a great deal over 58 years, maybe a little bit too much. But it's still my body. It still has a form to it, and that form really matters. And that's just a little aside, folks. This is a little bit off on the edge. I think one of the challenges of our times is when we get so much into a growth mindset, we forget about the significance of institutions, and that institutions really matter. And if institutions don't have support, they no longer can do what they're trying to do. They just can't. If they don't have people, they don't have financial resources, they simply cannot do what they were designed to do. And that yes, we can have a lot of growth, but if, on the other hand, we ignore the institutional side of things, it will eventually cause the demise of those things that we know and love. So these are thoughts for today, folks. And the takeaway is real simple. The takeaway is where you feel a binary occurring, just take a little while to think, okay, what might be a third way here? Where might maintenance be perpetual creation? How do we have a form, but allow that form to evolve? Because the tension you want to shift from, you want to shift from a tension between these two into a creative tension. And creative tension is a both and. A creative tension says, yep, we want to bring forward those things that we know are important. We want to preserve the core. At the same time, we want to stimulate progress, that it's a both and. And the creative tension is what ties them together. So that's the thought for today, folks. I hope that makes a lot of sense. And what we're going to do now we're going to move into our little meditation. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'd ask us all to just get a little breath here. And the meditation. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends. I'm not going to take live comments today because I got on late, so there probably are not any, but just wishing you all the very best in finding that third way today. And now a final word about sponsorship of New Church Live. Like our content? It's funded by viewers like you. Please consider becoming a sustaining supporter of New Church Live today. So take care, dear friends. Bye-bye.